Okay, this is episode 37 of What If History Restarted. Last time there was a very big event, which was that the Americas were discovered by the Old World. And also, we saw the coalitions against both Finland and the Danish Empire. So now those guys are a whole lot smaller. But anyway, first event is going to be down here in Italy, where we're going to be seeing the two Sicily countries down here are going to be uniting. So that's good for them. And we're also going to put one right here, because we now see as well that this Italian country is going to get partitioned between the new Sicilian Union and this light colored one. Over here, Tuscany is going to see this as a decent opportunity, and they're going to invade this one for now. So that's good for them. And yeah. Over here, these two countries, which were formerly part of Gibraltar, and if we look at the religion layer, we can see that they are pretty similar. However, this one does have a decent portion of its land and kind of like the Egypt-Gibraltar hybrid ethnicity, including two of its three major cities, although its capital is over in this one. But anyway, we're going to be seeing that because of that, some new rebels are going to be popping up over in this half, east half. Probably not that color. Let's bring out this. But yeah, these rebels are just going to start popping up. And this reddish one is going to see this as a good opportunity to unite all of this Gibraltaran people. So it's now going to help out the rebellion and push in to take the capital. From there, this country doesn't stand much of a chance. And eventually it capitulates. As for the new borders, they're probably going to be more accurate to the religion layer. Now, of course, I think this was a vital city. But as you can see down here, this is mostly just desert. Well, I guess you can't see that, but as you know, it is a desert down here. So the ethnicity doesn't really matter as much. So the border looks maybe a little bit different from it. Let's also just make that look nicer. Yeah. And then lastly, they need a capital, which is going to be right here. Anyway, over here, this Moroccan country is going to start expanding down. Not by that much. They're just going to meet up with these African countries, and that's good for them. Anyway, we're going to do a daily Omani Empire update. So, here we go. Bam. Rest in peace to the green team. They got coalitioned. But anyway, we are going to now do the same thing, but with Britain. So, okay, actually I decided I don't want to do that. So, okay, the British Isles are a lot less chaotic than this monstrosity. There is some sense of countries here, So we're gonna see, I can actually like show the events properly. So over here we're gonna see that this Southern Irish one is going to be getting coalitioned, because of course they are. So, and I mean, it's not just going to be countries gaining land. Maybe we'll say that that one did not get involved, as we'll also see a new country get created down here, or maybe two, you never know. Sure. Up here, the red team gets into war with this one and annexes it, and then these two fight a war against this one, but this one wins and gets a lot of land. Over here is kind of the messiest part, but we're going to actually see that this one down here is going to unite with this one. It is then going to invade these southern territories of this one. Why is there just the letter T? You know what, the letter T goes on a war against this thing, and it takes some land. And then this one goes on a war with the green one, and it takes some land. And then this one up here falls into civil war and splits apart. Except some people down here wanted to join Wales. Well, this is not really Wales, but it's kind of where Wales is. And then up here, we are going to see that they're going to form a new country via unifications. We have all of these little countries coming together to form the Scottish Union. Is this the ocean? Or a lake? Yes. Yeah, all the little countries here decided to form a union, which is probably going to be known as the Scottish Union. And there it is. And then these two get into a war. This one comes out successful. And the Scottish Union also jumps in on this to get some land, including a major city. And then these two are going to go to war. And then Northern Scotland will be the winner. And after that, these guys will join the Scottish Union. And finally, one more thing. These guys unite. Amazing. Okay, with all that out of the way, we're going to go to one last event before we get to the New World, which is over here. So the Byzantines, after the war, they played a major part in the wars against Denmark and Finland. However, they really didn't get that much land. They did get a lot of money though. So there's two sides here. There's the people who who feel like they deserve a lot more land and they should get a lot more land. And there's the people who are satisfied with getting a lot of money. So the people who want more land are usually from the more like sparsely populated regions. So we're gonna see like the Northern Caucasus, kind of just Bulgaria, maybe like this Albanian region. Now this is not a civil war, I'm just showing the groups. And then like out in the middle of Anatolia. So yeah, these later areas are the ones that are kind of more expansionist, and these are the more rural area. However, we can see they are actually decently larger than the areas that don't. They're just sparser. So it's kind of evened out. Because of that, some tensions are rising between the two groups some people saying that we should go expansionist, maybe try and fight the red team, these guys, and then kind of reform the Cypriot Empire almost, even though they can hate the Cypriots. And some are just saying that they should help and try and Europeanize some more. But yeah. Anyway, we're now going to move over to the Americas, where a lot of exploration is going to be happening. Now, first of all, there's going to be a lot more expeditions and explorations out, so we're going to sort of show that, as well as over here, especially up in this area. Maybe they find these islands, who knows? I know, and I say that they do. And so, with a whole lot more land being discovered, you're going to see the first interactions between the people in the old world and the civilizations here. So we do see some exploration already, maybe not that much, but some. And then over here we have the Koreans, and over here we have the Catalonians. So Catalonians go and meet with these people, and right off the bat they do not get along, and a war very quickly not even really a war, but a battle starts breaking out. But then these guys have their much better military technology, and with that they're kind of able to just scare off the people here. Now, there's just like one boat full of them. Meanwhile, there's a whole civilization of people over here. But their technology is just enough to scare them off, and now the people here think that they're like all powerful. So because of that, they're going to make an agreement with them, and they say that they can now live in the Delmarva Peninsula. So with that, that's the first colony in this world. You have Catalonia establishing its colony over here in Delmarva. And from there, they're going to waste no time. They can, for the next couple of years, or next few years really, they continue exploring this coast and expanding a little bit into it, because technically the civilization up here did not ban that. Obviously now they're going in and telling them to stop doing that, but there's not much they can really do about it. As for the Koreans, things are a little bit more peaceful over here. They're able to stay with the Mexicans fairly well. They don't really get into any big conflicts. The Mexicans did kind of help them understand that this was not Africa. So, obviously, they already kind of were good. But we see the Korean colony is established around this coast. And now it reaches all the way up here. And they start trading with these guys, and they're actually friendly with them. So that's good. Now, over here in Asia, there's a whole lot of debate. Now, mainly between Orange China and Squidward China, because both of them are already starting to draw out their own maps, and they both of them really want control of the area right here. So we have this area being claimed by both Squidward China, that is what I'm calling them, and Orange one. And with that, it's quickly going to get into a spiral out into a whole debate between the triangle and upside down triangle alliances. So we now see them arguing over who should get what. It's really more like, obviously they still barely know what these continents look like at all, so they're not really planning out like specific portions of land. It's more other than just like, the little bit they do know, which is just Central America. But they're just saying like, if you get all the land above this point, then we should get it all below this point. But maybe this one, they want some of this down here, so now you have to go lower. And just as debates like that, we see some small conflicts even on the borders of these countries, particularly between Squidward China and Baikal, who really, really hate each other. if we look, we can see that you can pretty clearly tell that Lake Baikal has done some ethnic cleansing down here. So that's not very kind of them. And so because of that, Greater China really hates them, and they've just been getting into disputes afterwards. After that, and things are just not being made better by this. So that is escalating tensions over in Asia by a lot. But anyway, we do see that some of these countries are going to go ahead and start making the colonies, even if they're debating over who should get what. But we have these guys start to just establish down this coast. Maybe this one settles too, and also them. These guys are going to have to go pretty far south from Hokkaido. So yeah, 4 Chinese, oh no, 5. Well, it's kind of weird to say Chinese, but like remember, there was one massive Chinese empire. It was all one country. It was like all of this, and then it obliterated into 1 trillion pieces. Anyway, now see that big exploration is made down south here. It was actually intended to go up north, but then they ended up getting thrown off course by a storm, and they decided just to roll with it. So this expedition was actually made by the Danish, and so they're going to see that this is pretty much uninhabited, other than just like tribal people that aren't fully civilizations yet. So they now start building up their colony, probably enslaving those native people, because that's what people like to do in this time. Hooray. So yeah, the age of exploration is fully on now, and these guys keep exploring the land. So as the decades go by, you now see that pretty much all the ocean over here is explored. Just not the Gulf of Mexico, but everything above the Gulf of Mexico to Greenland is, everything in between the Gulf of Mexico and Greenland, all that ocean is explored. Let's also do this, because we now see some exploration take place in Quebec and just New England in this sort of region, like so. They also go further into Greenland and continue to find that it is terrible here. Anyway, the Danish have a kind of a long distance to go from their capital, or from their territory, to the Americas. So what they're going to go ahead to do is that. Yes, very surprising, I know. I think Iceland just got their independence back, but unfortunately they did not join in any alliance because they really wanted to be neutral. But that did not work out for them, and they're no longer neutral. Anyway, Belgium of all countries is going to make a landing over here in Newfoundland. I think this is Newfoundland. This might be Labrador. I don't know. But yeah, Belgium starts making their colony up here. And of course, big bad Tuscany is finally going to get involved. They are going to be making their landing right below Catalonia, just to sort of keep an eye on them. So now Catalonia is getting pretty freaked out by this, so they're going to go ahead and ask Austria to help them out. Now the thing with Austria is, I don't know why there's a random pixel there. I also do not know what layer it's on. There it is. But yeah, the problem with Austria is that they have two major, well no, they just have 2 accesses to the sea. Either through the Adriatic, by which they have to go right by Tuscany, and they have to go all the way through here, and through the Strait of Gibraltar, which is controlled by Gibraltar. So that's not great, because Gibraltar is their enemy. Or they have to go through here, but at that point they already have their closest allies up here, so why even bother? So they do make their own colony over here in Florida. They do a nice little genocide of these people down here. I have fun. But past that, they really don't care anymore because they just do not have the sea access and their allies can do it anyway, so there's not really much of a reason to. Anyway, we're going to see that most the Asian countries, especially Korea, are going to continue exploring South America. Now the Andes are here, so that's going to make things pretty difficult. They can still find the coast to try and get a slight idea. And also start exploring more here, but soon realize that this is just the jungle, or rainforest, so that's not great. And yeah. So, are there any other countries that might want to be colonizers? I'm gonna say no, probably not. Red Team, I doubt would really care. Neo Jazz, African Union do not have the technology to be doing that. Denmark is also going to go ahead and make a colony up here in New England area and Nova Scotia. And them and Catalonia are allies. They're going to use the power of friendship to enslave a bunch of natives by kicking them out of their native territory. Because colonization is fun. See something. Something like this be the final border. And yeah, things are going nicely for the Europeans. By now it's probably been a good 50 years since the Americas are discovered. So that's just to put things into perspective here. And yeah, we see a lot of pretty rapid colonization in this northern area. There's also some nice exploration out here. Now obviously these colonies are still pretty new, so there's really no signs of them revolting for independence yet at all, because they would not want independence anyway. These guys are going to be doing their thing, which is expansion into native territory. We would also probably see this guy expand out here so that they can get a border with the Great Lakes. I think it's probably going to be pretty, well, real quick. Denmark keeps expanding this one, traveling along this coast. I think it would be pretty good to take a look at the ethnicity map, because that is not going to be very the same. That didn't really make sense, but pretend it did. So, if we go to world map, this one right here is the Danish colony, and they are fully of the dark blue religion. So well, it's not fully like that yet, but we do certainly start to see some of this happening, so that's not good. Belgium is predominantly the light blue religion, and they are a little bit more genocidal, so yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. And over here of Catalonia, I would say that they're probably the Gibraltar, and they actually don't do that much. This is mostly just from them settling. Austria's colony really, I guess slowly would be doing it. Now, one thing I do want to point out about the religion map, it really just shows like the majority religion in the area. Obviously, it's not like everybody in this area is this exact ethnicity or religion. It's just the majority group in this area. So, obviously, it's not like these natives are just getting fully wiped out in these areas. they're just being no longer being the predominant one because they're now being colonized, of course. So yeah, that's something. These guys are. I'm just gonna. Ooh, of course, this one had to be a problem child. Yeah, bozos. So we see that the Chinese countries, I mean, they're really just East Asian countries, but the East Asian countries are going to be pretty. That's literally just Costa Rica right there. But the East Asian countries are pretty bad, as in they're pretty evil. This is not good. Obviously, they're doing a lot of enslaving and kicking out the natives. With that, we see that these guys are going to grow out all the way over here. And now with the actual civilizations, they are trading well and being friendly. But with just like the native populations who are not in actual civilizations, just tribal, they are the ones that are not being treated well. So this one is spared, barely. It's kind of controversial. But we see that slowly these guys are going to start filling in this. And now I just took all that time doing this religion map for this area, but now I have to redo it. Grand. So yeah, goodbye to these colors. New ones are here. Anyway, we're now going to see Gibraltar finally makes a colony. They're a little bit late to the game, but they're going to go ahead over here in the Caribbean. And out of all the countries, I know that I just said the Asians were doing pretty bad, but these guys are really, they are the ones that are kind of going craziest. In a matter of a couple of years, pretty much the entire Caribbean is just every native here is either now been fully killed off or they have been enslaved. So that is not splendid, obviously. It does happen to already be a kind of similar color, but that's a coincidence. Anyway, with these colonies being established, we're now finally going to see some cities popping up. So we're going to have, no, not like that. This is where the first landing was made, right around here in New Jersey. So that is the first city. Also see one over kind of around Boston. See one kind of like Montreal. Well, I think Montreal's more north, but whatever. I think everyone should get at least one, so bam. You can get two because you're big. So yeah, this is probably like the least, how would you say, like the least effective colony. It's really not doing much. It's just kind of there. These guys finally start building their cities. They get 3. And now we just have the Asian country colonies. there. Alright, there'd probably be one in Hawaii. And just a couple more for Central America. Keep putting them more inland than what is realistic, because they are coming across from the Pacific here. Oh, and this colony of Denmark. So yeah, that is the start of colonization. I guess we would also probably see some colonization of Greenland. Denmark gets Greenland just like in real life. This is annoying me, so let's just go ahead and say that they explore it. No. So yeah, last thing is just exploring more. Some more in the Pacific here. Finding more of these native countries. Finding a lot more mountains. I'm sure they're going to be having a lot of fun with that. They might slowly start to be trickling in here, though. And right after getting through the mountains, you get a little bit of gneiss, probably. I don't actually know that well. But then there's the big rainforest. So, yeah. Probably aren't too happy down here. A lot more of central, or not central, a lot more of Southern America is discovered on the coast. See that they even go around Africa some more. And they also start exploring Australia, which, unlike in our timeline, they already have known about for a while. I think they actually discovered Australia after the Americas in our timeline. But in this timeline, they've already known about it for a while, just not well. And they also find a lot of these islands out here, which Korea is very fast to colonize. Just go right on in. So yeah, that is going to be the end of the first colonization episode. Goodbye.